Hey guys, I'm going to talk today about how to make a scatter plot and a regression line using a graphics calculator and Excel. So starting on our graphics calculator, I am going across the statistics and the data I've entered into list 1 and list 2 are height and body fat composition for some set of data. So this 28-year-old person has 15.7% body fat and there are 14 values there. So if I graph that, so I'm going to set, and this one's already set up, but I've selected graph 1, I've turned it into a scatter plot. It might already be on a box plot or a histogram based on what we've been doing. I've set this as list 1, that means across the x-axis I'm going to have the age, and list 2 is the composition, body fat composition. Okay, so that's set up. I'm then going to graph it. There we go. So I've now got a scatter plot and I can see a general trend, but I'd like to be more specific with that. So if I hit calc and F2 gives me X, so that's all of the linear models I could fit to it. So I want AX plus B. You could do the other one, you're just going to get the values of A and B around the other way. So what is this? In that form, Y equals AX plus B or MX plus C is what we would normally use. A is my coefficient of X and B is my constant. We talked about R and R squared values being indicators of how closely this regression line fits the data. So 0.2 is very weak. Remembering as we get closer to 1, it's a stronger correlation, and closer to 0, it's a weaker correlation. So if I draw that, I can see it's positive, it's increasing. I could tell that from my value of A being positive. So I might say that the general trend of this data is that as someone gets older, their body fat percentage composition increases, which is interesting. I could also, if I go back to calculating my regression, I can copy it in as an equation so that it's there. So it's input it into Y equals now, so I can graph it and I can do a bunch of things with it. So that's a graphics calculator. In Excel, see I've got the same data here, age and body fat. If I highlight all of that data and then go insert scatter plot, we should see we have a scatter plot. Now if I right click on this and go add trend line, it gives me a bunch of options. Let's move me over here. So I want linear, I want a straight line. Automatic, I don't want to have any control over that. I might actually move this whole thing over so you can see. I want to see the equation and I want to see the value of R squared because it tells me something about the strength. Now you should notice this is the same line as, well, pretty much as was produced by my graphics calculator, because it's not just a random, oh, that looks about right, it's an actual calculated value. So here we go. We now have a trend line using Excel.